to day 3 of the Declutter Your Kitchen 5-day challenge that I get the joy and pleasure of hosting in my Big Family Moms community. And if you want to be part of this in more than just getting some tips wherever you're catching this, if you're catching this on YouTube, but if you want to be part of the giveaway that I'm running this week during the live challenge, if you want to get all the action items that I drop every day at 1 p.m. that help you actually move forward and declutter your kitchen counter, then you're going to want to make sure that you jump into Big Family Moms. The link is in the description of today's video. Today is day 3, and we are going to dive into the hot spots together. I'm looking at my notes. I got about 6 different areas. I'm just going to run through really quick and give some different tips of either things I've done or just some good general advice. It might be something that you could think about doing if that's a hot spot in your kitchen that you're working on right now, or if you're using the bonus checklist that I provided on day 1, then maybe it's something you've decided to put for the back burner. You're going to do it a little bit later, but for right now, let's get into it. So you've got your target. We did it on day 1. You know what you're doing, when you're doing it. It's realistic. It's optimistic. Yesterday, we talked about triaging to identify, what's critical, what's the function of this area, this particular corner, whether it's your small appliances center or it's your drop zone or where it's the mail ends up when it comes in the house. So you know what is the purpose of this area, what's going to stay and what's going to go. Is it going to the garbage or recycling? Is it going home because it's just been sitting there and no one's actually taking responsibility to put it away yet? Or does it need a new home? And you actually need to define a space for this within the borders of your home. So that's the triage strategy to help you move forward. So it's not just sitting there and you're staring at it and it's staring at you, and then 4 months goes by. Because it can happen really quick in a big family mom life. Next thing you know, you're like, oh my gosh, it's spring already again. The baby's 3 months old already. Whew, right? Time's flying. Must be having fun. So yesterday I talked about the drop zone and I gave some tips for what to do with my clothespin door I was telling you about, with all the crafts and stuff my kids produce. My kids are 11 children, ages 17 to 3 months. So I always have crafts on the go. Like I said, I don't want my fridge filling up with I only have so many magnets. And then we also have a Great Dane dog. So I don't want stuff all over the place because my dog sometimes eats magnets and that just doesn't sound safe. So even with a 100-pound dog who could probably poop that all out. Anyway, not going to get into it. TMI. Let's talk about mail and other papers that come into the house. One tip that I haven't personally done because I heard other people do it, so I'm just sharing with you, but you'd have to test it out for yourself, but a lot of families do rave about it, is a family filing box. Like just getting, one of those yay big family, they're black and they have little filing folders, like just on the little hangers. Sometimes I've seen them in my churches I've gone to where they have this, for every family has assigned just their own little filing folder. And you could even get one of your older, more capable children. Hey, they could do some reading exercises the same too. If you homeschool, or even if you don't homeschool, this is a great way for them to practice reading and sorting and organizing and facilitating and helping their family, is they can be the mail sorter. And you can even have a section that's just for junk mail. So your kids can begin to identify, even for themselves, right? Good life training. What's just junk mail? Like, don't even read it. Don't waste it. It's just another credit card offer, so they can actually read what's pre-sorted mail, and they can learn how to identify what's actual mail, what are the bills and who pays them and where did they go, and then what's total junk, right? Or if it's just a question mark, I don't know if this is junk mail or not, and that could be a great conversation piece, but you can deal with it later and it's not sitting on your counter. What we do in our family, because getting the mail is a big deal at my house. So we just have a mailbox right outside the front door, but when it comes, the dog barks, the little kids who are about the 5, 7, 9, and 11-year-old all get really excited. I've actually assigned a mail person to go get the mail, because otherwise it can turn into a fight. So this year, my 9-year-old is assigned the privilege, but he has to be done his homeschool before he can go get the mail. So, a couple of birds with one stone. And I just told him, put it on this little table that I have right beside the door. So if it's a package, if it's the mail, I'm like, I will deal with it later. It's in a space where I'm going to see it. It's going to irritate me to see it, kind of like a piece of sand inside of a clam, right? It's just irritating to me to see the mail, and I'm going to see it so often. It's not out of sight, out of mind. It's right in my face. When I come down the stairs, there it is. When I, go to the kitchen, there it is. So for me, that works. Putting things front and center in a place I normally keep clear, it's just like a glaring neon light for me. So if that works for you, to put it somewhere it's going to bug you, hey, I just take it, I harness my own self, the way I'm wired, the way my brain works, and what gets on my nerves. So I actually use that to my advantage. But a family filing system could be a way to do it for you. That way it's not just sitting on the counter. So there's some thoughts, some inspiration for mail. Okay, crafts, we talked about that already. See next. Oh, right. So if your hubby or whoever else in your home, maybe it's like your teenage kids, are just dropping keys and sunglasses and coins and receipts and papers and just like psh, all over the drop zone, then really that's a responsibility issue. The way I see it is it's just time to have a sit down talk. I would do it privately with my husband rather than talking to him like he's a child because, sometimes us moms can still be in mom mode talking to our husbands. So I just make sure I talk to him privately and be like, hey, babe, listen, because you already talked about giving your family the heads up conversation on day one to let them know changes are coming. I expect everyone to, participate. We're a family. Let's work together. But I wouldn't talk to my husband in the same way because, like I said, that can be somewhat condescending, and not every husband's going to necessarily have the maturity to appreciate that you're just giving an announcement. So I talk to my husband privately, and I just say, hey, babe, listen, you know, I know you need somewhere to drop your coins, your keys. You work hard, you get home, you're home finally. I get it. When I'm home, I just drop my purse, right? I drop the diaper bag, I drop my stuff, I'll deal with it later. So I just say, "Hey, I'm gonna give you a spot where you can drop all that stuff, but it's also gonna work for me and not just be in my space." He's like, "Yeah, okay, great." Like, he just needs somewhere to put his stuff, and rather than it being the general drop zone right on the counter, I've just given him, like, a decorative basket, something a manly basket, or some kinda little box, like, this is his thing, but it's got little borders on it, so when that thing gets full of receipts, it just lets him know and be a grown up and sort through his receipts, or he could ask me, right? He could outsource and say, I don't know where to put these things. Where does it go? Because I'm the lady of the house. I'm the keeper of the home. I know where everything goes. I know where everything goes in this house, or at least where it's supposed to go. So that way I can respectfully engage his, participation, and we're not rubbing on each other's nerves. And it's taking care of the clutter on the drop zone. So that's one thing I do with my husband. It really, really helps. I've given him a space for his drop stuff. And beyond that, he also has like everyone in my mudroom, in the mudroom has a pull-out drawer where they can put their mitts, their running shoes, their Crocs, their whatever. And so I have one that's where I put my purse, my gloves, my scarf, my whatever. And that's where my husband has one. And he like hangs his wallet on there and it's his grab and go. But when that thing gets too full for him to even open or close it anymore, I'll just leave him a note and I'll say, hey, like this weekend, could you just go through it? It's getting a little full. And it's just a respectful conversation. And because we've gotten into a flow with that, it works. So that's what I do with the husband stuff and all the stuff piling up on the counter. Next, things in limbo. So things in limbo, right? They have a home, they just haven't been put there. Well, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could just do it, right? You could just volunteer and be like, I'm just going to do it just for the sake of decluttering this area and at least getting it clear, and then we'll hit the reset and go from there as it begins to maybe, accumulate again as people are learning new habits and how to use that space and where to put things. So you could just do it. Step one, like I said, just to hit the reset. It's fine if it's not going to irritate you and cause friction in the family dynamics. Alternatively, you could also assign it to some capable children, and like a 7-year-old could do this. You could say, hey, 7, 9, 11-year-old, even your 5-year-old, because if it's fun, if it's a game and everybody's doing it, then the little kids can get on board. And you could bring them together and say, we're going to play a game. You could even make it into a little race thing, right? And you could be like, this is called the put it back game. And here's your thing. Let's see who can put their stuff and get back to mommy. You decide if they're going to run or not for safety reasons, right? Maybe they have to walk really fast, and we're going to do it. And we're going to see if we can get this whole counter cleared, or this box, if you just put a bunch of stuff in a box to get it at least started. Let's see if we could do it together. Okay. On your marks, get set, go. I do this with my kids when I'm taking them to nap and I just want them to move faster. I turn the going up the stairs into a race because most kids actually respond to the fun and the enthusiasm and the competition. I'm like, let's go upstairs. I don't say let's go for a nap. Let's just go upstairs, right? Step one, just get them upstairs to the landing. Hey, right? You gonna race? Let's, ready, marks, get set, go. It's magic. They're up the stairs in a flash showing what they can do. So I harness that to help the kids do a quick put it away game. It gets the job done. They're having fun. They're learning responsibility. They're learning where things go. Because then in the future, if there's some Lego pieces or whatever, I could be like, here, open up your hands. Mom's gonna put these Lego. Okay, you know where they go, right? Ready? On your mark, good set, go. And they're like, they're not even thinking about it's a chore because now it's a game. So that helps me with putting things away quickly and not being the one doing it all. So things in limbo that have a home, just assign it and give a time expectation, like now. I just do things now because with my kids, they have short attention spans, especially we're talking about under 11 years old. So we just do it right away. If it's my older kids, I'm like, hey, listen, this is yours. You can put it on the stairs, but the next time you go by, I expect you to put it upstairs. If they don't do it, then they don't have that privilege anymore to leave things on the stairs. I leave things on the stairs for myself to take the next time I go up if my hands are free, like, some socks, some folded laundry or whatever. But if they're like I said, it's a privilege and it comes with responsibility, like all things. You'll hear me say that a lot. So I can do that with the older kids. And with some of my kids, it works great. They have the privilege. With others, I'm like, no, you're gonna have to take it upstairs right now. And it's not a game. It's an assignment. Go now. You can't do anything else until you pass go. So just go. Next, homeschool or other type projects. So if your kids have worked, on a wonderful science project, a big display or diorama, and they're super attached to it, and then you don't know what to do with it because there's like emotions, right? A couple of things we do. One is I make a display zone. And so you could do this if you haven't already, is make an area in your home where the kids can show off their crafts, they can show off their projects. We use the top of our piano, which is kind of in our office area. And so I clear off the piano and I have a display. Right now we're doing a geography game to finish up our big learning all the countries of the year for my older 5 kids. So it's covered right now. But when it's normally clear, then we just go through the different seasons, where it's like our Christmas display, or it could be, hey, we did a big science project. We're going to show off, show and tell for dad, any relatives that come over, other friends, they be like, hey, cool, you built that. But I let the kids know it's only going to be here for the month of whatever, it's March right now, right? And at the end of the month, we're going to clean it up and put it away, or we're going to break it apart and reuse things. And it's like, oh no, I'm like, well, tough love, right? I love you so much, but there's only so much space in this house. We have a lot of kids and a lot of projects, so enjoy it while it lasts, but it's not a keep forever. And I tell them, but we can take a picture to remember it forever. So we do that. I let them know we can treasure it in their hearts, but we're not going to treasure it in our home endlessly, because if you do the math with all the kids and all the projects, it's not going to work. Right? It's a closed system. The house isn't getting any bigger. So there's that. That's how I handle science projects and other like show and tell kind of things. So I want to honor the kids, but also respect the fact that we have boundaries. That's how I do it. What else? Bonus tip. If you haven't heard me talk about stuffed drawers, I assign each one of my children a stuffed drawer in their house. Good morning, Cindy. Good to see you. I have a stuffed drawer. It's just you could get a dresser system, like just a high boy dresser, like with the 5 drawers, and each child gets a dresser. This works because my kids share bedrooms and they don't have an entire bedroom devoted to their own personal belongings. They have a drawer, and I keep it on the main level. They can put their crafts, they can put their stuff, they can put, anything that's dry and clean. Wet, squishy stuff from outside lives outside. But anything they want to keep that their personal property stays in a drawer. And then when the drawer's too full, about twice a year, about Christmas and Christmas time, and then when we start summer vacation, then we do a big declutter, desort, which I've shared in the group, and I've got it saved in the guide section if you want to know how I do that. So stuffed drawers is really helpful in a big family system in that home. Small appliances. All right, let's go through it. I've got so many great hot spots, but I want to keep this under 15 minutes, and I'm going to do it. Small appliances really comes down to a choice. Do you use it every day? You're already looking at it through the triage like I talked about yesterday. Do you want it to stay up all the time, 100% available, 24/7, 365, or do you want to put it down? Do you want to put it down in a cupboard, or do you want to keep it out? It's just choosing. If you want, you could actually set up. I've done this before. Last house we lived in was a 900 square foot home, 7 children, and a galley kitchen. So I got my husband to get one of those do-it-yourself white cabinet thingies from Walmart kind of thing. And we just set it up just outside the kitchen. There was a little kind of nook, and he set that up so I could put a lock on it because I had little toddlers and I didn't want them going in and raiding it. And then I put my crock pot. I put other bigger awkward appliances, rice maker, my big lasagna pan, things that I wanted to access weekly, maybe every other day, but I just didn't have room in my kitchen. It was a galley kitchen, and I wasn't going to keep it on the counter because I had like 2 counters in that thing. So I created a space. I actually created a space. I made more kitchen, and that worked for me. So that's something you consider if you're like, I really do want to keep these things very quickly accessible, but I don't want them on my counter, and I don't really have any more cupboard space right now. I mean, you could create cupboard space by getting rid of some stuff, or you could actually just create another cupboard. So sometimes that works. You know your space, and if that's going to work for you. Alternatively, it's just taking a long, hard look at those appliances and asking yourself, do I really use them? Do I need 3 blenders? Because I've done that. I've realized I had 3 different blenders. I was like, pick your 2 favorite and get rid of one. You can live. I've had it for 2 years or more. I know I'll be okay, right? Letting it go, selling it, blessing somebody with it. That's what you can do to make some space when you need it. Lastly, coffee tea station where you've got all your coffee and your Keurig and your little creamers and your milkers. Again, it's deciding, do you want to keep a small cafe in your home at all times? If that works for you, great. If it's not working because this is your hotspot, then you just decide what's staying out and what's going away. And like I shared with you on day one, it's amazing what you can do in 5 minutes with faith and focus if you decide, I'm making this space. So I opened up a cupboard and I was like, I'm getting rid of at least 3 mugs. I'm a mug collector. I love mugs. But I only have so much space devoted to mugs, and I wanted to make more space with the tea things I was keeping on the counter. So I was like, some of the mugs have just got to go. Chop, chop. And I just decided to do it. I believed it could be done. I gave myself 5 minutes while I just had this little window between like lunch and nap time, and the kids were kind of distracted. And it's amazing what you can do in a little bit of time with faith and focus. So that's where I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to pick up tomorrow. I have got more hotspots. We're going to talk about vitamins and the cleaning area. I'm just going to run through them really quick to inspire you with an idea. You're already on this. You're going to do this. You're already more than 95% of the way there, honestly, because you committed to do it and you're going to get it done in a time frame that you've chosen. And listen, if you hit a little detour because some of the kids get sick or something comes up, just come back to it and keep going. It's going to be okay. You've got this, and I'm with you, so I've got you too. I'll see you tomorrow for day 4. God